The story begins with a mysterious man infiltrating a house and swiftly eliminating a group of attackers, sparing only their leader, who manages to escape. Shortly after, he receives a new mission to determine if Melida Angel, the noble daughter of the prestigious Angel family, truly possesses mana. Disguised as her tutor, Kufa Vampir, the man is tasked with investigating Melida's lineage. The Angel family, renowned for producing paladin-level warriors, fears disgrace if Melida, potentially the product of an affair with a commoner, lacks mana. In such a case, they plan to assassinate her to preserve their honor. Adopting a gentle persona, Kufa quickly earns Melida's admiration. Despite the scorn from her peers, teachers, and even her grandfather, Lord Mordred, Melida remains determined and resilient. She trains rigorously, striving to prove herself, even attempting to slay the night-dwelling lycanthropes lured into the city of Flandor by her grandfather to pressure her into awakening her mana. Kufa soon discovers that Melida is, in fact, an illegitimate child with no natural mana. Despite orders from his guild, White Knight, to kill her, Kufa decides to help her instead. He introduces a risky method to awaken her mana, administering a potion through a kiss. Melida collapses but awakens the next day, now able to wield mana. Kufa warns Melida to keep the potion's existence a secret, as revealing it would lead to their execution. She must also conceal that her new class is not paladin but samurai, like Kufa. With hopes of proving herself at the Academy's end-of-semester tournament, Melida agrees to keep her awakening under wraps. At the Academy, Melida and Kufa encounter her cousin Elise and Elise's tutor, Rossetti Prickett, a skilled maiden-class warrior from the Crest Legion Guild. Smitten with Kufa, Rossetti tries to win his favor but is rejected, leading her to vow that Elise will defeat Melida in the tournament. During the tournament, Melida joins a team out of pity and faces off against her bully, Nerva Martillo. Demonstrating impressive mana abilities and quick reflexes, Melida surprises everyone by defeating Nerva, despite running out of mana halfway through the battle by mimicking one of Kufa's techniques. Nerva, humbled by her defeat, sincerely apologizes to Melida. Melida advances to face Elise's team in the next round, only to be bested by Elise single-handedly. Melida invites Kufa to accompany her to the upcoming school festival, Circlet Night, but he politely declines. Feeling remorseful for her past outbursts at Elise, whom she once shared a close bond with as a child, Melida decides to wear a special dress they had promised to match. However, her heart sinks when she sees Elise forced to wear a more elaborate outfit dictated by her family's expectations. Realizing that both of them have been trapped in loneliness by the constraints of their respective classes, Melida resolves to mend their friendship. Ashamed of breaking their childhood promise, Elise runs away, prompting Melida to chase after her. Unfortunately, they are both kidnapped by lycanthropes and taken to an abandoned museum where William Jin, a half-lycanthrope and the man Kufa once failed to kill, awaits. Jin reveals a sinister plan. He has been ordered to transfer Elise's mana to Melida to turn her into a paladin. The girls nearly escape but are ultimately cornered. Just in time, their tutors arrive to rescue them. Kufa confronts Jin, revealing himself as a half-vampire, the most formidable kind of lycanthrope. Kufa severely wounds Jin but spares him, sending him back to his superiors with a warning. Back at the festival, Kufa asks Melida for a dance, during which she pleads for him to stay by her side forever. Meanwhile, Kufa's guild, growing suspicious of his actions, assigns a mage named Black Madia to investigate his loyalty. In a flashback, Elise remembers how Melida once protected her from a lycanthrope wolf when they were lost in the forest, solidifying their childhood bond. With the start of the new semester, the principal announces the Luna Lumier selection, an annual tournament between St. Friedsweed and the St. Diotrish Girls Academy. To everyone's surprise, both Melida and Elise are chosen to compete. Melida selects Nerva and a girl named Shenfat Svitog for her team. While resting from training, Melida encounters Mule Lamour, a mysterious student from St. Diotrish, who offers her encouragement. Kufa, meanwhile, catches a maid from Elise's household attempting to sabotage the tournament by rigging the selection to strain the girls' relationship. Melida, however, confronts the maid, challenging her to support their unity if she wins the tournament, vowing to form a unit with Elise. Kufa then encounters Black Madia, who demands a sample of Melida's blood to prove his loyalty to the guild. When Kufa refuses, they engage in a fierce battle. Black Madia, whose clown class allows her to mimic the abilities of other classes, gains the upper hand until Rossetti intervenes to help Kufa. Meanwhile, Elise proposes intentionally losing to Melida so they can form a unit and rekindle their bond. 3 days before the Luna Lumier selection tournament, Kufa and Rossetti request the academy principal to postpone the event until they capture Black Madia, but their plea is denied. During lunch, Melida, sitting alone, is approached by Rossetti, who inquires Elise about any tension between them. Meanwhile, Nerva and Shinfa join Melida, discussing their strategy for the tournament. The night before the tournament, Kufa speaks with Melida about her issues with Elise, learning of Elise's plan to lose intentionally. He advises Melida to have a private conversation with Elise to resolve their differences as siblings. As the tournament begins, Nerva and Shinfa fend off Elise's teammates, giving Melida the opportunity to face Elise alone. During the fight, Kufa spots a suspicious girl atop a school tower and assumes she's Black Madia. He attacks but is surprised to be repelled by her Diablo-class abilities. The girl introduces herself as Mule L'Amour, a member of the prestigious Night Duke houses, eliminating her as a suspect since Black Madia can only imitate lower-ranked classes. Melida surprises Elise during their fight and knocks her out, forfeiting the tournament herself. Nerva approaches, revealing different mana, and Melida uncovers her as Black Madia in disguise. Kufa and Rossetti confront and defeat Black Madia. Kufa escorts her out of the academy, sending a letter to father about Melida's progress. Later, Kira Espada from St. Diotriche is announced as the tournament winner. Melida and Elise reconcile, agreeing to form a unit. Kufa reflects on the mystery of how a non-mana wielder, like the old maid, could have manipulated the stained glass in the palace without assistance. That night, Rossetti informs Kufa of a rumor spreading among the students. Meanwhile, Melida, Elise, Mule, and Salacha Shiksal sneak out to join their classmates in a hidden tunnel for a celebration. Shinfa toasts to both academies for completing the tournament. During the party, Mule shares a dark tale about a husband who killed his wife, leading to the legend of the Grey Witch who roams, cutting out the hearts of young girls. The story frightens Elise and Melida. Suddenly, the lights go out, and a shadowy woman with red mana appears in the doorway. Believing her to be the Grey Witch, the girls panic and flee as the witch begins wreaking havoc. They run through the tunnel, encountering sticky pink blobs, and are eventually blocked by the witch at the exit. They attempt to fight but are easily overpowered and forced to flee. Emerging from the tunnel, they find Kufa on watch duty, only to be horrified when they believe his heart has been cut out. Kufa reassures them, revealing that he and Rossetti orchestrated the Grey Witch ruse to teach them a lesson about breaking curfew. Exhausted, the girls return to their dorm and share a bed, too worn out from the ordeal to do otherwise. Melida jolts awake from a nightmare to find Kufa urging her to get ready for a school field trip to Shangarda, one of the few remaining human settlements outside Flandor. As they prepare to leave, Rossetti rushes up to Kufa with a proposal for him to pretend to be her fiancé in order to fool her father, Marquis Blossom Prickett, who has already arranged a match for her. Kufa agrees, much to Melida's frustration. When Blossom arrives, he suggests holding the wedding ceremony in Shangarda, Rossetti's hometown, but Rossetti declares she's content with her current fiancé. Blossom studies Kufa closely, noticing a resemblance to a serial killer from Rossetti's past, a figure who was believed to be dead, though Rossetti herself doesn't recall him. Disturbed, Melida ditches class to confront Kufa about the situation but encounters Lack, now known as Black Madia. As their conversation begins, Melida starts hearing a strange voice in her head. Their discussion is cut short by a scream echoing through the hall, and they find a student unconscious. Blossom uses a potion to reveal that the attack was committed by a male with blue-colored mana, which raises suspicions about Kufa's involvement. Later, the group arrives in Shangarda, where Melida continues hearing the unsettling voice and wanders towards some suspicious plants. Blossom stops her and warns that the area is home to dangerous mystery spots. A local informs Blossom about a sick resident who must be killed to stop the spreading illness. Meanwhile, Rossetti brings Kufa to a church, where she apologizes for her earlier request but thanks him for playing along. As Kufa returns to Melida's dorm, she's upset by his lateness and demands something in return. He takes her out to a mysterious magnetic cave he discovered long ago, where they experience the thrill of floating in the cavern, much to Melida's delight. That night, Melida is plagued by another nightmare with the strange voice. She wakes up to find Elise, who informs her of another attack by the blue mana assailant, and Kufa is nowhere to be found. Melida and Elise arrive at the scene to discover that Blossom's adopted children have been drained of their life energy. Blossom suspects Kufa is responsible for the attacks and orders the town to find him. Melida sets off in search of Kufa but is stopped by Lack, who agrees to help uncover the truth. Disguising herself as a student to avoid attention, Lack and Melida question the townsfolk about the mystery spots. After a clever exchange with a woman at a flower shop, they discover the Crooked House, a dangerous mystery spot rumored to be the most perilous of all. Inside, they uncover a secret underground path that leads them to a dungeon filled with the bodies of townspeople who were killed for harboring the mysterious sickness. Lack begins to suspect Blossom of experimenting on the citizens, but Melida hears the voice again and dashes off, fearing another incident is about to unfold. She races to the church and finds Elise unconscious and Rossetti dead. As the citizens search for Kufa, Blossom takes Rossetti's body, and Melida lays Elise down to rest. Shinfa bursts in, warning that Blossom has been attacked. Rossetti's body has been taken, and the residents are coming for Melida due to her connection with Kufa. Melida escapes and heads to the mystery spot, where Blossom had warned about the dangerous plants. Breaking through a wall, she enters a hidden tunnel that leads to an underground library. She finds files detailing Blossom's experiments, revealing his tampering with lycanthropes and humans using a night gene factor. As she reads, the voice in her head grows louder, and to her shock, Rossetti appears with white hair and blue mana. The voice orders Rossetti to attack, but before she can strike, Kufa arrives and stops her. The two engage in a fierce battle, with Kufa transforming into his vampire form. The sight of him in his true state causes Rossetti to flee, leaving Melida in stunned horror. Melida moves to approach Kufa, but he suddenly pins her down, coldly telling her that he will erase all her memories of him from the day they first met. Desperate, Melida kisses him, declaring that, no matter the cost, she will stand by his side. This act catches Kufa off guard, and he finally reveals the truth. He is half lycanthrope. He shares his painful past, explaining that he was once one of Blossom's experimental children in Shangarda, created as a mix of human and lycanthrope. Although successful, his life took a dark turn when an enormous, spider-like lycanthrope named Nakwa attacked the town. Kufa and Father from the White Knights worked together to defeat the creature, but in the aftermath, Rossetti was gravely injured. To save her, Kufa had no choice but to turn her into a vampire and freeze her memories, so she would never remember her transformation and the hunger for blood it would cause. He wanted her to live a peaceful life without the burden of what she was. Kufa pleads with Melida to keep this secret, but explains that Nakwa has somehow returned, now allied with Blossom. Their goal is to get Rossetti married off to increase the number of mana users in Shangarda. Kufa reveals he already has a plan in motion, but he needs Melida's help. Without hesitation, Melida barges into the chapel where Rossetti is about to marry, declaring that her love for Kufa is stronger than Rossetti's, which snaps Rossetti out of her trance. The tension escalates into a fight, which forces Nakwa to reveal himself as the mastermind behind the recent attacks. As Nakwa flees with Rossetti in pursuit, she starts to regain her memories. Kufa arrives just in time, and both he and Rossetti transform into vampires to engage Nakwa in an intense battle. With the combined effort of the Academy students, Nakwa is defeated once and for all. Rossetti, now remembering everything, is overjoyed, but Kufa is forced to freeze her memories again, fulfilling his pact with the White Knights. Kufa tracks down Blossom, finding him in a dimly lit room with his wife, Carmilla, pinned to a wall as she undergoes the transformation into a lycanthrope. To repay Blossom for raising him, Kufa gives Carmilla a special drug to reverse the transformation and return her to her human form. As the students return home, Blossom is revealed to have turned himself in, and Melida welcomes Elise back, teasing Rossetti about her newly complicated relationship with Kufa. Meanwhile, due to their exceptional academic and combat achievements, Melida and Elise are invited by the headmistress to take part in the Vibria Goat Librarian certification exam. However, a secret gathering of nobles, led by Salacha's brother Serge Shixal, suspects Melida might be an illegitimate child and plans to test this theory during the exam, under the proposal of Luna Lumier. On the day of the exam, Melida's father, Felgus Angel, arrives with alarming news. A masked man had appeared at the academy, claiming to be Melida's biological father, hoping to stir up rumors. Kufa tries to dissuade him from taking Melida back, but they are quickly informed that Guild Grimphis is targeting the exam. In the chaos that follows, Melida and Elise are separated from the others and end up facing a group of vengeful ghosts that guard the dungeon. Just as they begin to struggle, Salacha and Mule arrive to save them, offering their assistance in the fight ahead. Kufa reassures Rossetti, instructing her to stay behind and protect the other students while he handles the threat from Guild Grimphus. Mule informs Melida and Elise that they, too, are participating in the exam and invites them to team up. As the group progresses, they encounter a messy bookshelf that must be arranged in a specific order. When Melida reaches for a book, small imps suddenly appear, and she quickly defeats them. Mule directs Elise and Salacha to place the books in the correct spots. Once they finish, the group is rewarded with special books signifying their success in the exam. However, Salacha suddenly takes Melida's book. Meanwhile, the headmistress attempts to regroup with the other students but is ambushed by Grimphus members, injuring her. Kufa arrives just in time to defeat the attackers, but one of the guild's executives summons more ghosts. Mule reads Melida's book aloud, revealing that her class is samurai before they attempt to escape the labyrinth. As Kufa is surrounded by ghosts, Jin appears to defeat the remaining enemies, revealing that Grimphus' true target is the entire student body, not just Melida. Father arrives and recruits Jin, promising him a formula to turn lycanthropes back into humans. He then assigns Kufa the mission of rescuing the missing girls. Melida later catches up with Mule and demands answers, only to be trapped by a powerful spell and surrounded by blinding light. She awakens in a courtroom resembling something from a twisted version of Wonderland, presided over by Mule, Serge Schicksal, and other noble families as the jury. Serge accuses Melida of being an illegitimate child of the Angel family, stirring the crowd into a frenzy. Melida defends herself, proclaiming that she is the rightful heiress of the Angel family and will prove it by becoming strong enough to join the Crest Legion. Serge challenges her, urging her to fight Salacha to prove her worth. In the ensuing battle, Melida is initially overpowered by Salacha's Dragoon class. However, using Kufa's training, Melida feigns losing her balance and catches Salacha off guard, defeating her. This shift makes the jury question their accusations, until Serge unveils a magical pen that morphs into a massive ink dragon. As chaos ensues, Serge reveals his true identity as a member of Guild Grimphus and falsely claims to be Melida's biological father. As he attacks, Kufa intervenes, and together, he and Melida defeat the Masked Man. Back in the real world, the Masked Man wakes up beside Serge, who angrily kills him for failing. In the following days, it's revealed that the attacker was a disgraced former member of the Crest Legion. Melida's father, Felgus, arrives to investigate, later telling her that a distant relative of theirs was also samurai class. Though surprised that Melida was born with samurai class instead of paladin, he accepts her as his daughter. Later, Melida and Kufa have a heartfelt conversation where she promises to one day be able to protect him, affirming his choice to remain by her side, bringing the anime to an end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more anime recaps. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next episode.